In 609 BCE, a catastrophe befell the kingdom of Judah. King Josiah, who had led Judah to a period of growth and prosperity, was killed in battle with the Egyptian army. Pharaoh, king of Egypt, placed Josiah's son Jehoiakim on the throne. Jehoiakim was violent, corrupt, and greedy. Jehoiakim ruled his people with an iron fist. He robbed the common people of their money and used it to build himself a magnificent palace. He and his ministers led lives of corruption and debauchery. Jeremiah, the prophet from Anathoth, spoke out against this corruption and took a brave stance against the monarchy, attacking King Jehoiakim with harsh words. Woe unto him who builds his house by unrighteousness and his chambers by injustice, who uses his neighbor's labor without wages and gives him not his hire. But your eyes and your heart are set only on your greed and on shedding innocent blood. The leaders of the corrupt regime, the king's ministers and officials, are infuriated by the prophet. They beat Jeremiah, torture him, and when he refuses to be silent, they arrest him. I'm standing in the royal quarter in the city of David in Jerusalem. Here, in this spot, lived the ministers of King Jehoiakim, those ministers who harassed and attacked the prophet Jeremiah. From here, they governed the kingdom. This place, known as Achiel's house, is situated at the center of the royal quarter. It is a fine example of an elegant residential home of one of Jerusalem's noble figures. The house is practically designed so that the 3 rooms surround a central courtyard. The yard was used for cooking, washing, and other household tasks. The high standard of living of the royal quarters residents is illustrated by several unique artifacts uncovered at the site. Achiel's house, for instance, had a toilet made of stone. Indoor toilets were quite rare back then and were enjoyed only by the wealthy individuals. Also uncovered in the adjacent house were pieces of furniture made of luxurious wood imported from Syria. Over the next 4 years, Jeremiah stubbornly fought against the prevailing corruption, but to no avail. Then, in 605 BCE, an event occurred that finally succeeded in shaking the residents of Jerusalem out of their apathy. At Carchemish, on the banks of the Euphrates River, Nebuchadnezzar defeated Pharaoh, king of Egypt, in a fierce battle. Riding the momentum of victory, the Babylonian army stormed the south, conquering Ashkelon. Nebuchadnezzar continued onward, marching his enormous army to the next destination, the kingdom of Judah. Now, the residents of Judah belatedly awakened to the frightening reality. They congregated in mass in the temple courtyard for prayer and fasting. Jeremiah summons his loyal scribe Baruch ben Neriah and commands him, "I am detained. I cannot go into the house of the Lord. Therefore, you go and read from the scroll which you have written at my dictation, the words of the Lord in the ears of the people. Perhaps they will present their prayers before the Lord, and everyone will return from his evil ways." Baruch diligently writes Jeremiah's prophecy on a parchment scroll and carries it up to the holy temple. He stands in the office of Gemariah ben Shaphan before the teeming crowd and reads the words of the prophet from the scroll. The crowd listens in tense silence and seems to accept the prophet's message. But word of the scroll reaches King Jehoiakim in his winter palace. He is furious when the scroll is read out to him. He grabs it, tears it to pieces, and throws it into the fireplace. And it came to pass when Jehudi had read 3 or 4 lines that he cut it with a penknife and cast it into the fire that was in the fireplace, until the entire scroll was consumed in the fire that was in the fireplace. The fire that took hold of the scroll spread to the houses of Jerusalem, turning the entire city into ashes. Some 2,600 years later, amazing artifacts were discovered in the ashes, shedding new light on the biblical story. In the royal archives, under the ashes of destruction, Professor Yigal Shiloh uncovered a small round lump of clay. It was a bulla, a personal seal used in ancient times to seal important documents. It seems that the fire that burned the document archive hardened and preserved the seals. Professor Shiloh continued his excavations and discovered 51 more bullae. One of the bullae bore the name of Gemariyahu ben Shaphan, from whose office Baruch ben Neriah had read out the parchment scroll. Inscribed in another bulla, discovered later was the name Baruch ben Neriah, Jeremiah's loyal scribe who had written down his prophecy. These stamps that I hold in my hands, although they are extremely small, they carry immense importance. They provided all of us with a real glimpse into the depths of the biblical narrative and the dramatic days preceding the destruction of the First Temple.